Take my heart along.
I love this song.
I'll be the harmony to every lonely song that you learn to play. When you're soaring through the air,
I'll be a solid ground. Anyways, hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport. I love this song. It's by Nickel Creek. So I had a subscriber, I won't say who the subscriber is, but they commented to my video yesterday about the cheap freight, and they had a lot of good points. A lot of good points. So, but I didn't. I responded a little rude, and I apologize. And that's why I'm doing this video right now. So they say it's not cheap freight. If you look at the market, it's all down big time. That was number one. 2,000 of new authorities that killing whatever left in this weak market. 3, brokers underbidding on freights. 4, shipping process going down big time. A lot of company business went down, less loads. 5, it's going to be a bloodbath. Why? I think they meant to say bath. Bath. Why? Truck notes and idiots paying $100,000 for $40,000 trucks. Now they want to make the payments. Brokers knows they're gonna beg for loads to cover these expenses. You want to survive? Go drive for Mega for now, and park fuel gonna hit $10 if Ukraine was going in. So I guess I misunderstood the last part, and that's I responded pretty rudely. So I apologize, brother. I've been in the truck. Today's about 7.5 weeks, I think. So by the time I get home, it'll be Friday, almost 8 weeks. I think my duration in the truck is like best used by 7 weeks. So I apologize for that, because I responded. Great point on the markets. However, the solution isn't driving for big companies. The solution is also not to take the cheap freight. Sorry, it's super bright. Sorry, let me grab this. Sorry, I should have grabbed my readers. Great point on the markets. However, the solution isn't driving for big companies. The solution is also not to take the cheap freight. How are the brokers making money? Question marks. How are the truck stops making money? Question marks. How are the truck sales places making money? A bunch of question marks. How are the trailer sales places making money? Because they don't let us pay what we want to pay. The solution is to stay home just for 1 week, and then when they see that we are organized, now they will respect us. They can tell us what to do because we aren't organized. And your comment is exactly the problem. Go drive for big companies because the fuel will go to $7. Stop saying this. Start saying, let's band together as trucker brothers and stop bowing our fucking heads to the people that are making the money. So I apologize, because the broker is a person that watches the videos, and they might unsubscribe. I hope not. But the point is this: taking cheap freight and going to work for a big company and just park your rig so you can pay the bills makes about as much sense as leaving water bottles in the bathrooms after you clean your ass, leaving them on the ground. It makes about as much sense as leaving garbage outside your truck when there's a garbage can literally 20 feet from your truck. It makes as much sense as wearing sandals in the snow. It makes as much sense as going 40 miles per hour through a parking lot. It makes as much sense as having an orgasm when you're banging your significant other and they don't have an orgasm, right? It makes as much sense as while you're in the bathroom pissing your pants, but you're right by a urinal. It makes as much sense as drinking a big ass thing of caffeine beverage or like a power drink or a Monster or something right before you go into bed. That makes a lot of sense, right? I don't see that. It makes about as much sense as finger banging your wife in church during service. It just doesn't make any sense. It makes as much sense as hauling a load on your trailer or in your trailer for absolutely nothing and just telling the broker, there's a freebie. It's on me, right? That makes a lot of sense, right? It makes about as much sense as wearing Crocs. Crocs are the ugliest and most ridiculous shoe on the planet.
No good. There's freaking these islands are open. Alright, Swami, if you pull in behind me, let Muzzy go on the other side of the pump. That way he can get DEF, and then that way you and Nip can do it.
It makes about as much sense as doing the loser thing.
All four of them are open, so
it makes about as much sense as doing the loser thing on your head. You know, that's so what, 90s or early 2000s. That doesn't make any sense anymore. It's just outdated. It makes about as much sense as saying talk to the hand or whatever. It makes about as much sense as being morbidly obese and yet you're eating fast food, burgers and fries and drinking regular soda every day. That makes a lot of sense when you're morbidly obese and you're doing that, right? And it makes about as much sense as saying she's all that in a bag of chips. That's been out for so long now, right? So the point is this: if you I want to step on my honey bun. I got a honey bun this morning. So, and I'm not saying this about foreigners. See, people talk a lot of shit about France, right? Oh, you know, they say they're French or whatever. Well, if you look at France, you know, I think they're the most taxed country in the world, I think, or they were, especially up until like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago when the yellow vest came out. Well, when the yellow vests, you know, France, you know, they carry these yellow vests in their cars, man. They carry them to work. You know, if the yellow vests say, hey, we're protesting, they all put on these yellow vests and they turn out by the hundreds of thousands, right? I mean, I see, you know, other countries, you know, kind of going up in arms over fuel prices, whatever the case is, and the people kind of banding together. This is the reason why truck drivers will not band together. You're illiterate. You're a pig, because if you look at the truck stops in the bathrooms, they're horrible. A bunch of big babies wash their hands or not. That's also another thing, right? It makes about as much sense as taking a dump and then not washing your hands, right? So you look at these truck stops. The guy and I had a conversation as we were washing our hands this morning when I'm in Portage, Wisconsin at the Petro, heading on over here to the forest about 20 some miles away, about 7 a.m. And I'm going to pick up that load going up by the Canadian border. But we're washing hands, and there's just paper towels all over the ground. And there's literally a garbage can right there. But there's just paper towels that you dry your hands with all over the floor. And he's like, just look at this. I'm like, I know. And he said he was down in Florida one time, and he walked into a truck stop bathroom, and somebody had defecated right on the floor. I mean, I don't know if it's true. Kind of coming secondhand from him. And I told him about the time when I was in Wamsutter, Wyoming, when I went in the bathroom and there was a Chester chicken box in there with just bones. Like somebody brought their meal in there while they were taking care of business. That's disgusting. The point is, truckers are illiterate. They're fucking pigs. Yeah, you're pigs. You're pigs. Because we're not policing we're not policing our own people. We're not policing our own people. You know, I parked here yesterday, and there's garbage all in the back row. All in the back row, there's garbage, but there's garbage cans just just across the travel way, and then into the next truck out, there's garbage cans. But yet there's garbage bags sitting. So that's the reason why truck drivers are being dishonored and shit on. Because you're illiterate. You're illiterate. You're a nasty human being. You're a pig. You don't shower. You obviously don't know how to police your people and clean up garbage. People complain about, oh, you know, they kicked us out of Walmart, so I just spent the night at a Walmart, and there were other the day before yesterday, and there was no garbage out there. There were probably 6 or 7 trucks there and a hot shot, and there was no garbage on the ground. There was no piss bottles in the shopping carts. So and then I saw once on a show, or it was a YouTube or Facebook. I think it was Facebook, and I don't go on Facebook anymore. I just don't. Where somebody videotaped a driver putting pee bottles in the grocery cart and just pushing it away. Well, shame on that person that was filming it, because they're not policing their own people. We need to start policing our own people, okay? So I don't mean to call out the other subscriber, and thanks for watching and commenting, because here's the thing. The answer isn't to jump in a big company's truck. They're already making all the money as it is. We owner-operators, we probably make up at least 50, if not 60% of the business, I would imagine. And I don't know if you guys know who Jimmy Hoffa is, you know, rest in peace, the mob killed him or whatever. But I would be a Jimmy Hoffa for the truckers. And my number is 414-477-7845. I would be Jimmy Hoffa for the truckers. You know, we have some of the greatest men and women in this industry that if we literally organize, all we got to do is we don't even need to organize like physically. We just need to organize as we're just not going anywhere for 7 days or 10 days, and everybody just stay home. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Don't take your truck out. So when you know, I mean, or like obviously if you know, like say it's going to be June 30th or whatever the case is, and you're out on the road because everybody still has to make money, then you just don't go anywhere. That's the problem, are the guys and gals that are out on the road that won't just shut down because they'll have a load in there and then I have to get recovered. You got to plan accordingly, where literally everybody is going to be home by June 30th or whatever the date is, right? And don't go out and take that load. Literally make sure you are at home for home time on a specific date. Not that you're out running and saying, oh, on that day I'm going to shut down. That's not banding together. That's not showing them. That's being a punk, right? That's being a punk. So what you do is you basically need to stay home and make sure you are home on that date. Not you're already out and like, yeah, I'm going to roll until that date. Well, what good does that do? Well, what good does that do? You have a load on the truck and then you're going to run out. And here's another thing. I told a couple of my buddies, I said, you know, that are owner ops and have their own authorities. I said, listen, you know, we need to get some goon squads out there. So when that date does come, we got goon squads at all these truck stops, and anybody who's sitting at a truck stop with a load on their shit, you stab a couple of their airbags. That's all you got to do. You stab a couple of their airbags. Sooner or later, the industry will run out of fucking airbags, and you basically tell somebody, well, listen, you go out there and you target the big companies, you know, Swift and JB Hunt and all these other companies, Schneider and Rail and Ruan and all these big companies, right? And you just target their trucks. And if you're in a truck stop and you're puncturing bags, I'll be on the line for it. I don't give a fuck. Take me to jail. I'm serious. I will sit. I'm not that guy. So you go out there, you start puncturing airbags, and you leave. And you walk up to an owner-operator's truck and go ahead, shoot me. I don't give a fuck. What you gonna do? You gonna kill me? Go ahead. Then it's just gonna be that much more media televised, right? So you sit there and you go up to, you don't even go up to them. You just, well, they gotta sleep sometime. You're not gonna be up all night protecting your truck. And it would literally take 2 seconds to stab 2 airbags, and then you're up. That's all you got to do. Just start puncturing airbags on the day that we're shutting down for that week or 7 days or 10 days, while we're sitting, you just organize these goon squads and you just go to the trucks, you go to the truck stops, and go ahead and say, all right, once they see the goon squads out in front, they'll be like, oh shit, I don't really want to know if I want to park here. Or they're going to have to park somewhere if they're running, and you just target big companies, just the big companies. You start taking out their airbags. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Because company drivers ain't going to, they'll be like, oh, I don't know. All right, well, sooner or later, you're going to have to stop and get those fixed. See, you guys don't realize. So, like I said to the subscriber, I apologize for the harsh comment, but that's not the answer. Why are all these other people making money except for the truck drivers? We're the ones that are taking all the risk. The broker's not taking the risk. Yeah, they got to have a $2 million bond or whatever the case is. They got to come up with 10% or whatever the case is. But they just have a bond company. So the point is where's their risk? Where's the shipper's risk? Where's the receiver's risk? Where's the truck stop's risks? We're the ones that are taking all the risk. During the bad weather, you see these, and I don't want to say dumbasses, because just because you're in a ditch doesn't mean that, you're the dumbass. Somebody could have got squirrely in front of you and literally pushed you into a ditch. I can't stand those guys that jump on the CB and say, oh, there goes another dumbass in the ditch. How do you know that they're the dumbass? They could have got pushed in the ditch. They probably shouldn't have been out in that weather to begin with. But the point is, you don't see the shipper, receiver, the truck stops, or the broker's vehicles in those ditches. You don't see those guys having to pay astronomical diesel prices to haul heavy-ass freight or even light freight or whatever the case is that you got to stop and you're spending, $500, $600, $700 a day or whatever the case is. They're not paying that. You're paying that. But you're not going to organize because you're a dumbass. You're illiterate. You're dirty. You're lazy. And you're basically a pig. So, because the garbage you leave around, and the thing is, we're not policing our own people. Like I said, you can give me a call, 414-477-7845. Call me a shitbag, call me a dirtbag, but I'll be the Jimmy Hoffa to start organizing. All we need to do, like I said, nobody needs to go to jail. Nobody needs to protest. Nobody needs to form a convoy and spend your fuel and go sit down and by Washington, and that does nothing. That does absolutely nothing. Nothing. That does nothing. Except gets views. That's it. And gets you on the news, right? So when you're sitting there in your bunk at night, it also makes about as much sense as not making your bed in the morning either. If you don't make your bed in the morning, well, it's going to get messy anyways. Well, you shower, aren't you going to get dirty again? I don't understand that concept. Oh, you make your bed, man. Make your bed. So, like I said, the point is, why is everybody else making money? So the answer, so if we don't want to see $7 fuel prices, then we can cure our own cancer. I've told you this yesterday. I've told you this other days. We can literally cure our own cancer by just shutting down for 7 to 10 days at the house, not on the road, because that does nothing. You literally make sure that your equipment is at the house or at your storage spot or parked at a truck stop where you're like, I know a lot of guys do because, it costs money to store these rigs, right? So that's all you got to do. That's all you have to do. And it won't happen because we can't organize. But if you guys would, and here's the thing, you'll go on the Facebooks and the YouTubes and the Twitters and the whatever else is out there. I keep trying to balance my phone on my steering wheel, sorry. And talk shit and complain and we're gonna rise up one day. The fuck you are. You ain't rising up. I mean, if you really are about it, then you'll call me and we can set dates where you just have to stay home. That's all you have to do. You just have to stay home. All the owner-ops, all the independents, the big companies won't do it, but the drivers for those big companies could do it. by just making sure that, hey, listen, I need to go home for an emergency, and that's it. They're not going to fire you, and the military's not going to come in to haul loads, because the shippers and the receivers, they're not military. They're not military. They don't have military views, basically, right? Military's, they're like, I ain't going like that. Do you guys know how shippers and receivers are, right? They treat us like shit, right? Well, not flatbedders. I mean, unless you're at a steel mill or a lumber place, they're a little rude. But I hear all the time from dry box and reefers and whatever, that, oh my God, these shippers and receivers, man, they act like they hate you. You think the military is going to call for that? You think it's going to be any better if the military hauls that freight? It's only going to be worse. So the point is, because of us, other people have jobs. Brokers, shippers, receivers, and vice versa, right? That's the reason why we have jobs, because of those guys. However, if a couple people at a shipper or receiver call in sick or try to protest, it's not going to affect us. But now, if we all band together and be the Jimmy Hoffas, if you don't know who Jimmy Hoffa is, look it up. So the thing is if we were to act and we were to unite and we were to organize, you would definitely see a huge problem. But you won't, because you're dirty, you're lazy, you're illiterate, and you're a pig. That's basically it. And you're a miserable person as well. That's why you won't do it as a truck driver, because you're those things that people call us every single day. And it's quite apparent that we are lazy, illiterate, pigs, and, just live filthy. Because when you walk into the truck stops, it's quite apparent. When you drive 50 miles an hour through a parking lot, it's quite apparent that you're illiterate, because you can't read signs 10 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour. You're illiterate. So, oops.